Welcome to From Shambles to Shambhala. I'm Zia, and I'm down in the garden today enjoying all of the creatures. So far I've seen a couple of squirrels and juncos and robins and a hairy woodpecker. And I know that there's a bunny, a little tiny bunny, in the neighborhood, and so I'm hoping she's going to show up soon too. And speaking of all this beautiful nature, the Dream Arc was launched last month, and it's something that I've been really excited about and anticipating for quite some time now. The Dream Arc is a branch of the Gene Keys that really deeply connects with nature. Each Gene Key is represented by 3 different creatures. One for the shadow, which is usually an insect or a reptile, and one for the gift, which is a mammal, and then one for the city, which is a bird. Richard Rudd, the originator of the Gene Keys, teamed up with Rosie Aronson, who has done the Wisdom Keepers Oracle deck, also related to the Gene Keys. Wonderful, beautiful work of art in and of itself. They've teamed up together to create this online Dream Arc course, which is just an incredible masterpiece. Absolutely stunning in so many different ways. I'm one of the contributors, and so if you stick around to the end of this video, I will include my contribution, one of my contributions, which is it's a slideshow of some of the pictures I've taken on my spirit walks, and just sharing those experiences with you. If you're interested in hearing more about the Dream Arc, I will post a link to it below so you can investigate further. And for now, we'll go to Peter for this month's update. And yeah, stick around to the end for a special little treat. We'll see you soon. Happy June. Bye.
Hi everybody, and welcome to From Shambles to Shambhala. I'm in a fairly busy intersection here, right in Victoria, but we chose this mural behind me to be part of this energetically, and I'm sure at some point, either in this session or a future session, Zia will talk about the Dream Arc. And you can see these animals on the mural behind me. There are birds, there are animals, there are reptiles, all representatives of the Dream Arc. So you're going to hear vehicles passing by, but we just thought this was a really great, appropriate place for us to do the recording. So we went through the total lunar eclipse just a couple of weeks ago, and I know it caused a great deal of difficulty for people. The deep dive down into the Scorpio energy, to go down as deep as we possibly could. And it took some people down into a state of loss of hope, of depression, feeling flat, lackluster. Fortunately, only temporary, but it was the opportunity to completely clear out all the old stuff that we are completely done with, that we no longer want to have in our lives. The sun was in Taurus, and both were at 25 degrees. And the reason I'm going back to it is because there's a really interesting event happening right at the end of the month. And that is on May 30th. We have the new moon in Gemini. So the sun will have just gone into Gemini. And at the same time, Mercury in retrograde motion is going backwards. So we've got this really interesting situation where the sun is moving forward into Gemini at 1 or 2 degrees of Gemini, and then Mercury is coming back, and on Sunday the 22nd they were precisely conjunct. So if you want to look at it this way, Mercury was in the heart of the sun, and then Mercury now goes further back into Taurus. And on this new moon, and the reason I'm talking about it is Mercury will be exactly where the sun was in Taurus for that total lunar eclipse, at 25 degrees. So what this is indicating to us is that there is this opportunity to look back towards that total lunar eclipse to see what we missed, to see what little niggly piece we didn't get needs to come out and needs to be seen. So Mercury in retrograde motion is going back to show us something we missed first time round. So if you can, in the next few days, go back into that total lunar eclipse and think back to what took place for you, what happened, and see if there's something that you missed. Because this new moon on May 30th includes in it, obviously, the Sun and Moon conjunct in early Gemini, but it also includes a conjunction between Jupiter and Mars in the first couple of degrees on Aries. Aries is the first sign in the zodiac, and Mars rules Aries, so you've got this very powerful Mars-Aries energy being expanded by Jupiter, but this is the beginning of a new astrological cycle, and Jupiter takes 12 years to go around the whole cycle. So this is a wonderful opportunity to forge ahead, to take action, to move forward. However, with Mercury retrograde, that movement forward won't be smooth yet. So it may be better to be reflecting upon the way in which you're going to move forward once Mercury clears. That takes place on June 3rd, so I would suggest not doing anything until June 6th or later, and then really put the gas pedal to the floor and take off and get going. That will then lead us into June the 14th, where we have a full moon at late degrees of Sagittarius, very early in the morning, and the moon will be in the 11th gene key. The 11th gene key is all about our connection to the fantastic romantic aspects of life, the realms of fantasy, and it gives us this opportunity under that moon to really connect to those invisible realms, whether it be the animal kingdom, the elementals, the angels, archangels, ascended beings. It's just a great time to go in search of that connection to those higher realms. And then we move into the summer solstice on June 21st, again very early in the morning. And the summer solstice, and I'm talking Pacific time here, the summer solstice is in the northern hemisphere when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, the furthest movement north. So it gives us that longest, brightest day. It is the zenith of the sun, and the sun is currently having a huge impact upon us on Earth through these solar ejections that are coming out of the sun to bathe us in this higher frequency light. So a really good thing to do on the summer solstice is between now and then is to build up your energy on the inside, because the gene key of the summer solstice is the 15th gene key, which is all about your inner flowering. It's called fluorescence. So if you imagine all the beautiful flowers that come out on the summertime, and imagine those flowers flowering inside you, your own inner blossoming. And from now until then, it's only 3 weeks away roughly, just allowing yourself to build up to your highest expression. So we clear the Mercury retrograde, we reflect back on what's happened over the last few weeks, and then we start taking action and moving forward into the brightest light that we truly are. And then at the end of the month, on June 28th, we have the next full moon, which is the full moon in Cancer. And in North America, we're moving towards Canada Day on the 1st of July and Independence Day on July the 4th in America. So that June 28th moon in Cancer is all about the heart, and it's all about celebrating family. So I think, having gone through a really, really heavy time as we move very slowly and sluggishly through Taurus, we're now going to see this quickening take place as we move through the mind alert of Gemini, and then into heart-centered love and family in Cancer. So I look forward to a really good, exciting and activating month for all of us.
Have you ever gone for a walk, perhaps in a forest or through a meadow or on a beach, sat down and settled yourself, opened a space within your thoughts where the stillness could take root, felt yourself dissolve into the stones, plants, and trees? Have you noticed how sometimes the wind changes, the water calms, even the light seems to respond? Birds and animals appear. The clouds make shapes that speak to you. Have you ever had a dragonfly land on your hand and stay there for what seems like eternity, or seen the silver glint of a fish breaching the moment your eyes touch the water? Have you ever cried at the great beauty of creation, only to find that it has started to rain? The language of nature is always speaking to us, if only we stop and listen. Nature waits for us patiently, for us to tune in, to reconnect, like a mother waiting for her wandering children to come home. We are nature. Nature is us. We are one and can never lose that connection, no matter where we are or what our minds tell us. There was a time once, many years ago, when I was working very hard. I had 4 jobs, no time for a walk. I felt completely lost and disconnected, caught up in survival mode. One morning I opened sacred space in the South American medicine wheel tradition in which I've been trained, and when I got to the north direction I said, "Oh, great hummingbird, please come and remind me of the sweet nectar of life, for I have forgotten." And on my way home from work that night, I found a baby hummingbird on the yellow curb just past the bus stop. No parents in sight. I scooped her up and took her home, and for the next several days I dropped everything to take care of her. My life changed forever that day. And now I will never forget the sweet message she brought, or the sweet nectar of life. When we call, nature listens. And when we listen, nature speaks. All we need to do is give ourselves an opportunity to commune with her, and one of those ways is a spirit walk. A spirit walk is an opportunity to step outside your daily life and all the distractions that go with it. It's a gift you can give yourself, where you can totally give way to the miracle of the moment and nourish yourself with the grounding energy of Mother Earth. You make a commitment to staying present and noticing your surroundings. You set an intention before you begin or ask a question. And then you open a sacred space, walk, and simply pay attention. Your mind is quiet. There's no agenda, no expectation. You might want to take off your shoes and socks so you can feel the ground beneath your feet. Step lightly, engage all of your senses. Breathe the sweet air, smell the fragrance it carries, feel the touch of the breeze, the cool raindrops, the warmth of the sun on your skin. Whatever it is, take it to the heart of you. Whatever comes, no matter how big or small, give thanks. It's a blessing. The spirit walk can help us work through blockages, release old patterns, and embody our future self, one that's completely and deeply connected with nature, with all living things. We return to our daily lives feeling renewed and replenished, with a fresh perspective on life. Whether you live in the countryside or the city, nature is there. Even in the midst of the largest, busiest city, there are still trees and flowers, if you look hard enough. The ants, spiders, and bees are still going about their business. You might even notice weeds poking their way through the cracks in the sidewalk. Ah, the tenacity of nature. In Victoria, British Columbia, where I live, for example, there's a couple of ravens who nest atop one of the highest structures in the city, the tower ravens, we call them. You can often hear them calling to each other, or see them chasing away crows, or even dropping the odd shiny thing on the sidewalk, to the bewilderment of the pedestrians below, who are, for the most part, oblivious to their presence. You don't have to go very far to connect with nature. You don't have to go anywhere at all. You don't even need to go outside, although it's highly recommended. Some of my most magical spirit walks have just happened when I was looking out the window or sitting on a bench, because nature's inside of us. There's no escaping it. All we need to do is sit still for a moment and listen. And the more you do it, the more it will happen. The magic never stops, and you'll realize that your whole life is a spirit walk, and there's no difference between dreaming and waking.